This is my balls pose.
Is it? It's pretty good.
It's all right. It's not comfortable at all.
No, you're not comfortable like this. I'm completely comfortable. Like if I want to do the entire show like this, my hand in front of my face for some reason, like I could. I don't know.
This is better.
For everyone.
Probably, yeah. I can probably just move my microphone around here.
I'd say honestly, I can still hear you pretty well. So,
so if you could just turn off your camera, that would be great.
Okay, you just turn around.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could turn.
Yeah.
Or we just do the whole show like this.
You keep doing that. That's really That's not a thing we should do. I don't even have any wrestlers behind me. Like I need to move them back there.
That's true. I miss the mohawk. Look, I miss it too. Actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason that was 2 years ago. It was a mental health thing that I did. But last year I didn't do it because I was hosting the symphony orchestra. I helped curate that geek performance, which was all sort of awesome. And then this year, well, it's just cold. I don't want my head to get cold now.
There you go.
But I miss it too, Nathan. And then Casimir, you're damn right, buddy. We do have TLC predictions we're going to get to here near the end of the show. Thank you for streaming us either live and interacting with us or on demand. You can you're going to want to interact with the main topic on today's show because you're a wrestling fan, which means you have opinions.
Ooh, that's true.
And I don't know if you're noticing in the background. Now, if you're listening to the audio podcast, we'll talk it out for you. But 2 years ago today, which I didn't even realize till like an hour ago. Otherwise, we would have had a field day promoting this ahead of time. 2 years ago to the day, the WWE said that they were going to give us what we want.
Yeah.
We're going to listen to the fans. Triple H, Stephanie, Vince, and Shane all in the ring at once saying, we're going to give you what you want.
Yeah. Do you remember what they gave us? Because I don't.
We got Becky Lynch and the women headlining WrestleMania. I mean, we got that.
You're right. That did happen.
Not to say everything sucked in the last 2 years, but things certainly are not going the way they want them to.
No, not at all.
And with that said, Jason, first-time viewer, welcome, sir.
Woo.
Please don't go. Stay around. Oh, he's gone.
First-time interactor.
Yeah. So, and we think this is so apropos, so suitable that today is the 2-year anniversary of this historic promise.
Yes.
And why is this so apropos today, Ballz?
Because we're coming off of historic Raw ratings lows.
Yeah.
Overall,
each
hour, worst Raw ratings ever.
Ever.
They were beat by AEW in every hour. Not one Raw hour went above the AEW rating.
And the key demographic and everything, which is a very wide demographic, 18 to 49.
18 to 49. Which is super wide. But
you probably want to target a little bit more. That's also, I love all these dirt sheets say that's S male and female, where typically you probably want, in this case, more of a male audience.
Yeah. Yes.
Either way, not good momentum for WWE, who actually is winning tons of social awards. Their production team continues to win awards. The network wins awards. But the ratings of the shows did not win awards.
No, which means USA and Fox are not going to be happy. At all.
Nathan says they did give him what he wants. The same stuff week in and week out for months on end.
We should probably have to talk about what you want.
If you like predictability, if you like comfort, you're like, ooh, I don't want to escape my comfort zone. This is great.
This is fantastic for you at that point.
Yeah. Then the last couple of years have been outstanding. Jason, same birthday as Triple H. Goes back, Four Horsemen, a Ric Flair fan, everything else. Hey, me too, buddy. I mean, Ballz kind of came in around the Attitude Era and was a WWF guy.
Yes.
back then. Yeah. I grew up with the Macho Man and Hogan, DiBiase, all those guys in their prime. So we're longtime fans.
Yes.
And we've been lucky. We've been able to work with WWE. We've worked, we've gotten connections with Impact in the past. And we've been able to kind of look behind the curtains a little bit in this industry. So we love analyzing inside and out. But really, the in-ring product is what got us here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully what keeps us here.
Yeah, it's the characters and the just presentation.
And last week was you said something about forgetting Raw is on.
Yes. I've done that more times in the past 2 months than I would ever admit.
Which life adds up, of course. Mm-hmm. We all understand that, life happens, work, jobs, family, moves. I mean, so much gets in the way. But Raw has been doing the same thing for 2.5 decades. And for you to forget it's on says something about both of you.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely.
One, that, you're not that upset. Like when you said you skipped Raw last week, you were like really blue. Like you were literally blue from being upset. And this week you acknowledged it, and now you got color on you.
And I have color. I'm back. Yeah. No, I get it. It was just like, oh man. All right. Oh, okay. I also didn't miss anything. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that goes to show that Raw's doing something wrong, and you could argue SmackDown too.
Yeah.
And really, and this is a great comment here to echo Miz. Raw used to be must-see TV. Now it's the opposite, big time. Which is funny because as soon as Raw opened up with Miz TV this week, I'm like, I'm going to go do something else real quick. I'm just going to listen to it in the background because I know Miz and Morrison are going to annoy me for the next 5 minutes.
Yep. Bathroom break.
Yeah. And I used to love their chemistry and their back. Yeah. But now it doesn't feel organic. It feels very pushed.
Yes, it does.
Very much. There's pro wrestling in general. There's so many options right now that as a fan, we should be excited about.
Yeah.
It's also... It's like, I think the reason why people are grasping onto AEW so much, and we had the special last week, the AEW for Dummies, AEW is putting an effort in there. Like you could tell there's a passion there.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Where you watch some of these other shows, and WWE is going to be picked on in this conversation here. It feels like through the motions, like it just... the daily grind that the grinds, the gears are just going.
Well, you hear all these stories about, Vince changing everything until an hour before the show or into the show.
Yeah.
How much change or how much effort can you put into a show when you're literally just finding out what it is as it's happening? Like,
yeah,
I guess at that part, that's where things remain the same or remain safe. Because you can't break the mold or push forward when the guy on the top is spinning his wheels about what he wants.
Mm-hmm. And it starts at the top. If the top isn't sure where the direction is, then how are you supposed to have people follow? That's a big issue there.
No, absolutely.
So, there's so many things here. Gina says, Miz is trash. What do you mean? I'm okay with heel Miz because he likes being a heel.
Yeah.
But there are times it gets to be a little much. Like, I think if he's got someone good, like a Kevin Owens going against him, then, there's a motivation for him. There's a fire under his ass that Miz is a little bit more focused and more entertaining. But right now, I tend to agree with you that now the character... it doesn't do much for me. Nathan pointing out the biggest plus for AEW for him every week starts with the match.
Yeah.
Not a 20-minute promo to start the show, which I don't mind switching it up. I'm a guy that loves the soap opera aspect of these things. So you give me a Rusev, Lana, Bobby Lashley triangle, that's fine. Everyone else hates that. I'm in it. I'm in that, baby.
Now, I now blame you for that story. I blame you for that story now.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Casimir says AEW kicked ass this week, which you're right. It absolutely did. But the ratings for that were down this week too.
Yes.
People are craving something in wrestling to light the fire, light a war, to something. I think, again, a lot of this goes into why people are grasping onto AEW so much, connecting with it, because they're hoping they're the ones that are arsonists.
Which is funny because we say that people are grasping it, but their ratings were down as well. So, I mean, it's not like people are grasping it and it's suddenly starting to, raise and stay up there. It's just the whole industry as itself is on a plateau, and the company that figures out how to create new fans will be the one that wins.
Yes, absolutely. Dylan talking about so many writers getting fired over the years in WWE that if something doesn't go click right away, then they got to go. And we hear those horror stories. Maybe it's an exaggeration, maybe it's absolutely true, but there needs to be more patience. We talk about young talent, and you need to build up the young talent. That is a slow process. Slowly but surely, you gotta trust some of the people. And there's a lot of back and forth. With that said, I was gonna say start the conversation, but we've already been going on it. Is there anything that you would immediately change about Raw or SmackDown? Because NXT is its own thing. NXT may follow the mold of the rest of the WWE shows, but you can tell it's a different crew.
It is.
And they get away with more, it seems.
It does. I would say my first thing would be to ease back on the script. And we've heard stories that certain wrestlers get bullet points and they can kind of talk themselves into what they want to do, but everything is still approved or whatever.
Yeah. I
would say, for the most part, give them a direction and a way to go. Because how are you ever going to find your character and your motivation for this person you're supposed to embody, whether it's you or whether it's a character you're putting on? How are you supposed to find all that if it's literally handed to you on a piece of paper? So let them talk, let them try to, and if it fails, then it fails. If they can't connect, then that's obviously something they need to work on. But let them give them a guide, but don't necessarily write the sentence out for them and be like, say it like this. To me, because that is where we get the disconnect at. For
the sake of argument there, maybe pay for better writers, because you see this award-winning TV shows and movies. A lot of these guys don't get to pick their own characters. They are reading exactly what's on the piece of paper in front of them, and they're winning awards.
That is true.
Again, there are good writers and the bad writers out there. But you're right. There are some stars that would benefit from just speak from the hip. And let them be them.
I mean, and I don't want to blame the writers, because let's be honest. Like, if you were even a Hollywood writer, you're writing a movie, what have you. A movie is 2.5 hours long. 3 hours. It's an episode of Raw. These guys are doing writing for shows 52 weeks a year. More than that if they're on more than one writing team, if they're writing for more than one show. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't want to immediately be like, the writers are trash, because the writers have an entirely different job than a regular television script writer or a movie writer or what have you.
And then also, if there's last minute changes, I'm sure that doesn't help either.
No.
You probably didn't have a lot of last minute rewrites right before they decided that they were going to film an episode of Breaking Bad. They're like, hey, by the way, now that you're on set, here you go.
Yeah. Here, by the way, this guy lives now. Huh?
Yeah. So if you can just remember those new lines real quick, you'll be fine. Don't worry.
It'll be great. Yeah. By the way, we're live.
Who cares about your character motivation? There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things there. That and so much to go. Dylan talks about having a pay-per-view every month doesn't help build the storylines. Because there are matches, stipulations thrown out there that aren't really needed at this point. Nathan points out sometimes it's not even every month; it's every 3 weeks.
Which is how I feel about TLC, because when you told me TLC was this weekend, I went, "Huh?" I feel like we just had a pay-per-view like a week and a half ago, but Apparently, it's been like 3 weeks.
Jason talked about how he's hearing that NXT writers haven't been doing a good job as of late. Either, who knows, the hearsay. Yeah. I mean, you might be correct, you might not. Either way, they have a tough job. The wrestlers, of course, are always going to want more and more. And there's a lot going on for me fundamentally. Yeah. If you're a wrestler, if you're a character, if you're a writer, maybe even a producer. And I would love to get Devon's thoughts on this on a future Table Talks at some point. You need to have a direction. Like, what is your character's motivation? Like, not just a gimmick. Yeah. What is your character's motivation? The reason why Roman is clicking right now is because we know Roman's motivation. Oh, yeah. And that's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. The Fiend is losing momentum because what is he doing right now? What's his motivation? Yeah, no, absolutely. Is he trying to screw with people? Is he trying to protect Alexa, not just on a week-to-week basis, but like, what's the direction? Like, what is the motivation? And not everybody needs to be, I want to be world champion. No, and while I do think, a lot of people should be, if you're in the company, you should probably, being a champion should be your motivation. But other things can come up because it's like real life. Like, there's going to be issues and different consequences and different things will come up and different, everything kind of, you make a right turn and you kind of go that way. I think the issue with that is that they don't have a clear direction for where the characters are supposed to go. So they can't even tell them what their motivation is or what their WWE has not been great. Possibly, definitely more recent years in long form storytelling. Mm-hmm. It's very much week to week or even very short form storylines. Yeah. You don't let storylines breathe and grow anymore. It's this match, Hell in a Cell, and then it blows off, and then you start over again. But that's not necessarily WWE's fault either. Look at how the way we consume everything has changed. Absolutely. Like, we used to not have the internet telling us everything before it happens. So we were curious to see how things were going to play out. Like back in the day, ECW, the Sandman was supposedly blinded. So he did not leave his house for 2 months. Like, he wouldn't even go out and get the mail. Somebody had to get the mail for him to, and that was the beginning of like the dirt sheets and the internet. It wasn't even popular then. No, and he still protected the industry. While now there'd be somebody out there that's peeping through his window using some sort of drone. It's a drone. And he's fine. Yeah. He's watching TV just fine in there, everybody. You heard it here first. It's like none of us allow things to breathe either, though. No, absolutely not. No, not really. So some of that is on ours. A lot of people coming in and commenting about lack of script. Let the stars do what they got to do. And we were talking to somebody lately on Table Talk, and the topic was brought up about that. And some stars they can't cut that promo. There are some stars, like we look at the great ones. We look at The Rock. We look at those guys, Kevin Owens, or even The Miz. We know those guys can cut promos. They don't need a script. But then you get into a Dexter Lumis on NXT, and you wonder, would he be able to nail the character? Would he make it better? Would he make it worse? Yeah. And there are some that, Devon is talking about, I think off the air, that there are some people that have surprised him in the past. And he didn't give me any names for me to reveal to anybody else. But he's talked about people that in the Attitude Era, the writers did say, go out there and cut your own promo. And they froze. They didn't know what to do. I get it. Obviously, I have a hard enough time doing this, let alone going out in front of a ring, Don't cut a promo on us. Come on, go ahead. Trash talk me. No, I can trash talk you. That's not a problem. No, I'm good. Yeah. It's. No, it was. Kayfabe was special. Which WWE would try to beef with AEW. Let's bring all wrestling together. Yeah. It's a dream. You dream big, my friend.
I mean, Vince is never going to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I think Triple H would be more open to working.
Vince already did it when he bought out all the promotions and territories and combined them into his company.
Yes, that's the best you're going to get with Vince. I think he's not going to work with somebody else because he doesn't want to share money with somebody else. Like it's his baby, his way. That's it.
And even then, who dictates who makes that money?
Yep.
You know, Vince, let's say Vince did own all of these companies. We're still going to go into the same lack of motivation.
Yep.
Because even before, like we know Impact had struggled for years. Ring of Honor is hardly even in the discussion and conversation these days, which is unfortunate. Yep. It's when AEW came out and started lighting a fire under some fans that WWE even had to pay attention and take notice.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously everything we cover here on the show is still not going to cover enough.
No,
of things
that always things we can change. Because there was an article I read recently about the writers being asked, "Hey, what wrestlers do you think are underutilized?" And a lot of them allegedly had the same names on it: Angel Garza, Cesaro, Carmella, among others. Yes, I mean, most of us as fans have been saying, give Cesaro something for years. At this point, though, are there a certain level of star that are they damaged? Like, is Cesaro believable? To me, I mean, anytime, if Cesaro started a main event run right now, I'd be like, hell yeah. Would it make storyline sense for him to go from here to here? Probably not.
No.
But are there people that are so far down the card that there really is no helping at that point?
I would say, yeah. There are some that they would need an overhaul, and it's not going to be an overnight change. Like Cesaro needs to go into, hypothetically, the first idea I come with, and this is a very simple Wrestling 101 idea. He starts losing, and he starts getting pissed off. Maybe he blames Shinsuke for that. Yeah. I mean, it's like one of those that he's done trying to appease partners.
Yeah.
Maybe they put a little reality in it that he's done being held back, and he gets pissed off.
Yeah.
And so in the ring, he doesn't even win. He just starts demolishing his opponents. He refuses to let go of holds and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Until the point where you realize this dude's pissed off.
No, absolutely.
And you either want to support him or you want to see him get his ass kicked.
Yes.
And then you find somebody else where you can do that. Like NXT did it brilliantly recently with Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa.
Yes.
You got two guys like Timothy Thatcher's really been bullying people. And then Ciampa comes out and you're like, oh, shit, this is going to be good. And it's just simple. It's like, those powerhouses are going to have a solid match, and that feud's still going. You get that with Cesaro. You don't put him against Chad Gable right now and expect that to happen.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And I like Chad Gable. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he was someone mentioned on those lists as well, was Chad Gable. So.
Yeah, Casimir talks about how back in the day, Hogan, Undertaker, Randy Savage cut their own promos. Yeah, I mean, I think Devon estimated that it was like 75% of WWE were cutting their own promos in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
But there are still some that need the help.
No,
and sometimes it's give them a script, see if that happens, see if that helps. And maybe they need a bit more direction. I'm sorry, we don't. I don't really want to be famous.
No, I don't really want to. I don't have any money to buy followers, whatever primes are. Or
that's a lot of Amazon accounts.
Apparently. Yeah, I only have mine and I'm good. I don't need another Amazon account.
Yeah. It took me enough time to finally break down and get it and stop mooching off other people.
It's true.
Yeah. Dylan thinks maybe Baron Corbin should drop the King gimmick as it's dried out.
Yeah.
I'd say what you do, bring back the King of the Ring.
I was going to say, before we moved on to that, the guys that can't cut a promo, that to me is the perfect fodder for why you need managers. Good managers that can cut promos, but maybe can't wrestle that great or at all, depending on what manager it is. Like that's where you need to put them with managers, or in a tag team where the other guy is the talker and you're the, like there's definitely roles for people who can't necessarily cut a promo.
Mm-hmm.
Corbin, 100%. Bring back the King of the Ring. Somebody wins it. He can't use the name King anymore.
So I wanna say something controversial that's probably going to lose me a lot of support here today. I would drop that belt off of McIntyre. I would drop it in a heartbeat. McIntyre, I respect. I think a lot of people are happy to see that he is, been this champion twice now. I mean, it's like he's moved up.
Yeah.
His character right now is boring.
It is. My issue is I would agree with you, but I don't know who to give it to. Like I don't have a strong argument for anyone.
Right.
Like, this would get ratings. I don't have that person off the top of my head.
And I don't even know if it's a ratings thing, but you need a heated feud at the top.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they're building towards him and Sheamus. We get that. Is that going to be the heated feud that's going to bring people in?
Because Sheamus hasn't been heated in a decade.
Yeah.
5 years, we'll say at least. But since he left to go do Ninja Turtles 2, no. Sheamus is not a main eventer anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're trying to build him back, and you got to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
Last thing fans wanted got Drew winning and Kofi Mania. And the way he lost pissed people off.
Yes. So you can't say, yes, we got what we wanted, but not all of it.
And even then what we want is different from what we want.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I mean, everybody could be, hey, we want so-and-so to win the Royal Rumble. That may not be what I want, may not be what Ballz wants.
Yeah.
So pleasing everybody 100% of the time we know is not realistic.
No, not even close to realistic.
We're not even trying to ask for that. I think if you got these large-ass rosters, especially in WWE, put everybody on TV as much as you can. Because then you can start rotating and cycling people. So if a Seth Rollins goes down to injury, or if a Braun Strowman goes down to injury again, you have other people that aren't foreign to the product when you bring them up. It's one of those that I think it's always bothered me, especially the lower tier, the lower card. And I think right now there's a lot of females that are, as great as Sasha and Bayley have been, SmackDown's women division is hurting because so many of them have been pushed off of TV or onto superstars for so long that when they're all of a sudden in the title picture, it's like, why?
Yeah, I'm supposed to believe that? Yeah, exactly. No, for sure.
So for me, and you do that, you don't have to have, and I know we don't do all the backstage analytics, but may not need your top guys on the show every single week if your show is entertaining from top to bottom. Yeah.
No. I would say you probably don't need 14 recaps of what happened earlier that episode.
Especially when you got the internet,
imagine, you cut out 6 of those and you could get another couple segments on TV of different people.
I'm so glad you said that, Ballz. Because I fight this fight all the time in my radio station, that there's so much mentality that's in the past that it boggles my mind. I'm like, technology has changed things, people.
Yeah.
WWE is still doing the endless recaps of what happened. Here's what you missed before the break.
I have Twitter.
Thinking that people are just now tuning in from the break. It's a very old school, I'm watching TV with my remote in my hand.
Yeah.
When, even if that is the case, they put everything on social now. Everything.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And there is no watch Raw to see how this ends. It's already there on Twitter 2 minutes after it happened.
It absolutely is, because that's why you don't, if you want to be surprised at TLC, don't get on social media during it, or else everything will be spoiled for you as it's happening.
I mean, if you got a big attack that opened up the show and somebody had to go to the hospital, you could show the replay 10 times, as Ballz said, 12 times, and we get to see it over and over again. Or follow WWE on Twitter, see the attack from earlier. We'll have an update coming up.
Yeah.
And then go backstage and actually give us a reason why we're supposed to care about Miz TV welcoming AJ Styles on this week. The talk shows also, God knows the talk shows need to be completely overhauled.
Yes. Yes.
Either make them consistent, so every single week we have one of these goddamn talk shows.
Don't do that.
but it makes sense, though. It's like Ms. TV's gone for 2 months, and now it's back.
Yeah.
Why this week?
Okay, I get that. Yeah. And then whatever happens on the show isn't really that important anyway. Like, it's not, why is this on? Why is there a Miz TV for this? It's like, literally, you're just making fun of this person that the Miz is feuding with.
At least they're getting some people on TV. So even if Miz is just the mediator between two sides feuding, at least Miz is developing a character. But
yeah,
why? Why do all these people want talk shows other than it gets me TV time?
Yeah. No, that's it. That's the only reason. I can't imagine any other reason.
But if you put just a little bit more effort into why they want talk shows as a character,
yeah,
then, Nathan says, bring back the Peep Show. Why? No, I do. I mean, the Peep Show is great, but like also none of these shows have a uniqueness to them.
They're all the same show.
They are. They just have a different set. Like the one thing I liked about Jericho, the highlight reel, is at least he had the Jericho,
the Jeritron 3000.
Thank you. And so you knew at some point eventually something was going to happen, and they took the slow long build for that one.
Yes, they did.
But Kevin Owens, the KO show, is no different from the VIP lounge, except there's no velvet rope.
Yeah, or there's an easel with a sign on it. It's like, yeah.
I'm like, all of these things, if you just put a little bit more, like, and I'm sure a lot of the wrestlers, the superstars, the characters, they all agree. Like I'm sure they would want to be able to put a little bit more into it. I think right now WWE is in a spot. Maybe you should listen to your stars and some of their ideas.
Yeah, I can't wait for AEW to get a bunch of talk shows.
Yeah. Drift wants to know who we think Asuka's partner is going to be. We're going to get to TLC predictions here in just a moment, I promise you. So that is going to be one of our topics that we are going to bring up. But TLC will be fun, by the way. I'm actually looking forward to TLC now, thanks to low ratings.
Oh, yeah.
Because the rumors that WWE is taking notice of this, like, this is not getting any better. No matter what we do, our main core product is not being better received.
I loved it. They got the message.
Right.
I don't know what message it was or who got it, but TLC.
That's why our background image, you look from the promise 2 years ago.
TLC is where you get the chance to prove it. Prove that you got some message, that you want to make some changes. Show us something interesting.
Yeah. So, and we'll see. It could also be freak out mode on Sunday.
Yes.
Where they try too hard and then they start throwing everything against the wall to see what sticks. And that's not going to help it either. You got to baby steps. But that also means maybe that means this Sunday, okay, we need to focus because WrestleMania season's nearly here.
Yep.
We think Roman Reigns and Goldberg is big business. But then think about it. Is it really big? But like somebody needs to say, is it really big business? Is that the audience we want? Yeah.
Is the vocal minority telling you it's big business?
No, it's the outsiders. It's like we're trying to get this mainstream audience, and that's what WWE's really focused on with Raw and SmackDown and the pay-per-views over the years is, can we get our star on Good Morning America the day after WrestleMania?
Yeah, but does Goldberg have that cachet anymore? Do people care?
No, they think this is going to bring in an old audience, and like we've talked about this, God knows how many times over the 15 years we've been doing this. You could bring back these stars, WCW stars, and like AEW with Sting last week. People are going to be curious. All right, what are you doing with them? Yep. This week, AEW ratings went back down. They didn't crash, but they went back down. And WWE, no matter how many times they push these old guys at the WrestleMania events, the crowd is not stuck around.
No, never.
And I get not putting first-timer versus first-timer in your WrestleMania main event. I mean, the women did, but if you're going to do this on the male side of things, I get not putting Drew McIntyre versus, of course, he's now a headliner of WrestleMania. So even then, it's like, there is no one resolution, of course, but maybe this hopefully gets them to reconsider things. Like, if you're going to bring Brock Lesnar back, I'm fine with it if he's not in the title picture.
Yes.
Let him, what is his character like without possibly Paul Heyman and without that championship? That's a Brock I'm willing to explore, because does he become a nice guy? Is he more of an asshole? I mean, it's like, there could be direction there. Like, what does Brock Lesnar do if he's not in the championship picture?
Absolutely.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
And there's so many, like, a lot of great comments coming in. Drew Gulak outside of the 24/7. I'm like, there's so many little tweaks you can do.
Yeah.
The 24/7 championship has had some funny moments. WWE, I'm sure, loved being able to give it to that ESPN anchor and some of these other weirdo outsiders. But at this point, I would scrap it. There is a place for comedy in wrestling. I am absolutely all for comedy to go along with the seriousness, the singles wrestling with the tag wrestling, the men and the women. Like, to me, wrestling is a carnival. That there is something for everybody. You got the ringmaster, Steve Austin. You got the bearded lady. You got the trapeze artist. You got the vendor selling the popcorn. Something for everyone there. That's what wrestling should be. So it's not just straight guy in black trunks wrestling guy in black trunks for 20 minutes with a lot of arm drag takedowns.
I was about to go NXT, and then you put the arm drag takedown thing. I was like, that's not really NXT.
But no, that's what's the motivation? Even if you do that, if you do that, then okay, why is match 1 different from match 2? And not just because, well, one, this guy wrestles different. Why do I care? What's the difference there?
Yep.
I think every match should have a meaning behind it. Even if it's just an enhancement match, a squash match.
Yep.
I'm all for that. But, like, why do we have these back and forths between Ricochet and Mustafa Ali right now? It's like, they don't like each other. Okay, we get that, but what is Ali like? Is Ali trying to bury Ricochet at this point? Is he trying to end his career? Like, somebody asked above, and I meant to put this up sooner. What is the end game for Retribution?
I think Retribution, whatever their end game was on the day of their debut, is completely different than what their end game is now.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I read a story a while back where USA was not happy with the ratings. So one of the things that WWE pitched USA on this big thing was like, we're going to bring in Retribution. And then you're like, USA was happy with what, how did you sell it to them? Because could you start trying to sell it like that to us? Like, what else could you do?
Well,
I don't know. I don't know what their end game is anymore.
They were setting fires a couple months ago.
They were. And now they're barely on. They're not on nearly as much of the show as they used to be.
The promos are better thanks to Ali.
Yes.
He's doing everything he can with a bad thing. But what is the motivation? Like, why do we care?
Yeah. Like, now that you have contracts, what's your what is your
That should have been it. That'd be like, we won.
Yeah, we got
Look
contracts.
how easy it was for us to take your money.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been it. Like, you just get out right there. That's your spider in the cage, Eric Rowan ending. You just cut it. It's abrupt. You're like, really? That's it? But then we don't have it anymore.
And then they all take their masks off because they got real jobs.
Mia Yim is Mia Yim.
Yeah.
Yeah, Divakovic is,
Dominic Dijakovic.
Yeah. There's so much there. And I know so many of you, so much going on. I mean, and we're just picking on WWE this week. I know, no company's perfect. We're not saying AEW is perfect by any means.
Not at all.
But at least I feel that there is a effort there right now. There's a passion. Even if I don't always agree with where they're going, there's people there all on the same page trying to go the same direction, where WWE feels like it's in scrambles.
Yep.
And they can't blame the pandemic on that, because this was an issue before then.
Yes. No, it was.
So with that said, final stretch of the show here, we will talk AEW. Bow! All right. Yeah. All right. So you just made it awkward there.
Yeah. You were doing the same thing I was. Whatever.
Yeah, but I was sexy about it.
I couldn't figure out my right and my left in the camera. That's all.
Yeah. So, all right. So us big heads will talk TLC.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they added an Inferno match of some sort.
Yes. A Firefly Inferno match.
Which we don't know if it actually is an Inferno match.
Yeah.
If it'll be a cinematic match. Or something we've never seen before. Like these guys are literally dancing on fire. I don't know.
They just chase fireflies around. Like, it's not.
It makes sense. I mean, this is years in the making. This is a slow build right here, because Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, they have a fire history.
No, they do. And that's why apparently this match is, in reference to that history, which nice work. I would love to know if you actually remembered the history when this feud started. Or if someone pointed out, hey, remember when these guys talked before? No. But you're talking about motivation and things. I feel like the Fiend needs to win this. Number one, any match with the word Firefly in it, the Fiend better win.
Yeah, I think this is a good excuse for him not to win, though. Let's say it is an Inferno match or something along the lines of gotta get burnt. Who's the wrestler who's covered and who's not?
I know. Yeah, no, I get that.
Mm-hmm. It's like Kane being in Inferno matches. Like, okay.
Yeah, you're like, okay, yeah, you're losing.
Or the one time he actually won because he took on MVP, who up until that point had never wore a full bodysuit before. But that show he conveniently did.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's my pick. I unfortunately, I got to pick Orton. I'll be cheering for Bray Wyatt because if it's named after Fireflies, it should be his. But we know it doesn't always work out that way. No, your prediction's also very much welcome. Dylan pointing out that he loves the cinematic matches, except the Money in the Bank.
You mean the part where they threw Ray and someone else off the building? You're like,
and there was really no follow-up to that.
No.
Multiple people went off the edge, and they're like, it's fine. He's Rey Mysterio.
We didn't tell you that, there's a landing below or, it's multi-tiered.
Yeah. He gets thrown off a building, no big deal. Loses an eye, though, big deal.
Big deal. Long form storytelling. Yes.
Nathan says there doesn't need to be two TLC matches. I agree with that.
I would agree with that, too.
And we'll get to that in a moment. And especially because they're also both in the male roster.
Yeah.
It's not even like the women get one right now. Let's talk about the Raw Tag Team Championship, though. Start at the bottom, moving up. Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin of the Hurt Business taking on 2/3 of the New Day.
2/3? I feel like, and I know they've had a couple matches recently. I feel like, the Hurt Business finally win the titles here. I feel like they need it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they have Lashley as a champ, but I feel like they need some more gold, something that push that forward. And
I agree. And it's gonna be
don't need it.
And it's gonna be a great visual to see MVP bragging on his 3 champions.
Yep.
I mean, I agree. I agree with you. I think these guys are gonna steal this one. I don't necessarily want the New Day to lose, but I think the Hurt Business gets that legitimacy making this happen.
If there's one thing we've learned is that the New Day can come back from anything.
Yeah.
So taking this loss in stride is nothing for them. I'm
also curious what's going to go on with Xavier Woods because I just have a feeling little by little he's going to be a little less available moving forward. I think he could be one of those stars that start to transition out.
It's true.
I That's what I'm guessing. I mean, with G4 and whatnot, I think up, down, down. He's always wanted to wrestle, but I think this is his contingency plan where he's like, things aren't the best here right now. We asked him on Table Talk, oh, congratulations, you're the host of Talking Smack. And he's like, that he literally didn't know until the rest of us knew.
That's what I heard, yeah.
That nobody actually asked him. And so maybe he wants to take a little breather right now.
And how do you make the guy the host of Talking Smack and then trade him to Raw 3 weeks later? I feel
then they already canceled his hosting, but
yeah.
So we got something. Jason says you just got a notification. That's not in this comment here, but kept talking about the AEW trademark suspended. So I'm not really quite sure. What's going on here. I'm going to see if I can look that up maybe while we're doing our thing.
I want to take a wild stab that has something to do with the word Rhodes or Cody. I don't know.
We're the only ones that I can have wrestling babies right now.
While you're trying to look that up, so women's tag team title match, Asuka and a partner to be determined against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. The partner, I believe, was Lana. Lana is hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even see my air quotes. There's so much crap on our screen. Lana is hurt. Is allegedly not going to team with Asuka. I guess number one, do you think it is going to end up being Lana? Is she going to miraculously come back, or they write her off for a little bit?
No, I could see Asuka and her new partner winning the tag belts, and then Lana supportive at first, maybe upset that she's not a champion. She's the one that helped lead Asuka to this. Asuka two belts, and then all of a sudden not a champion.
That's
and I don't know if that's a heel turn for her or if these people turn heel on her. But I think she actually sticks around. She just doesn't wrestle this. She's not one of the champions.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm thinking anyway. Now, of course, the big question would be, who's the partner?
Ooh.
Jason says partner will probably be Charlotte, where we had another person comment in that thought it could be Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch literally just had a baby a week ago, 2 weeks ago. She is not physically cleared to wrestle yet. As someone has had, not physically had kids, but I do have children, I know for a fact that woman is not wrestling yet. So it's not Becky. Charlotte, I would almost feel like that's a step down for her to come back as a tag wrestler, or to help out Asuka. I feel like that storyline would be below her. I'm going to continually just hope that it's the baby will pin Nia Jax. God, I would hope so. I'm always hopeful it's Io Shirai. Anytime Asuka needs help, I'm always hopeful it's Io Shirai.
That'd be great. Kairi Sane comes back out of nowhere. She's like, I'm back, bitches.
Got my visa.
Yeah.
One night only. No, she had to quarantine for 3 weeks just to get into the country to do it. No. I don't know. I'm I really feel like we talked about it earlier about the women's wrestlers being pushed to the side.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard for me to even remember who's on what show. I think I'm going to be oh, Peyton Royce would be great.
But that's what I was going to say. Even if it is Charlotte, most likely she's going to go back to SmackDown, I would guess, because that's where Andrade is.
Yeah, but she was still a Raw wrestler when she left, right? She was not technically a SmackDown wrestler.
Yeah, and I know technically the brands aren't really split right now because they're all wrestling in the same spot.
Yes.
Minus that, if they're trying not to split up the teams and the duos, the real life couples, then you'd probably want to put her on SmackDown once they do finally hit the road again, whenever that may be.
Yeah, if you have Naomi on Raw and her husband on SmackDown, I don't think they really care about that right now.
Is Naomi on Raw?
I'm pretty sure Naomi's on Raw and Usos on SmackDown.
Really? I thought Naomi was on SmackDown.
I swear in the last draft she got moved over to Raw. Swear.
Here we go. We're gonna do this. What brand is WWE superstar Naomi on?
It's not going to know the answer.
It's the Raw brand. Good job.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah. Maybe she's the mystery
Maybe
partner
Naomi,
because I didn't even know she was on the show. So it's a big mystery.
That's the thing. There's so many women in the NXT roster right now that are on what I would call the same level.
Mm-hmm.
You could move Io Shirai up, and while it would suck that no one would pin or get her title that way, or maybe, you know what? I mean, she could debut with the title and do dual shows for a little while.
Kevin Owens did.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You could do it, and they haven't had a woman do it, so why not kind of go that route for a little bit? But like, you know, there's so many women that could carry NXT right now that I don't see. You don't need Io. Maybe her getting promoted could be a good thing.
Yeah, I'm a little distracted because the point of the logo kind of looks like it's going to pierce your nose.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Dylan pointing out that Eva Marie is rumored to be coming back, which I believe that'll happen. I just don't think it's going to be this. I don't think Asuka would be like, "Oh, Eva, yeah, be my partner."
Don't you do this to me, Dylan.
No, I could see her being the person that Angel Garza is pining over, because you want to get heel heat for Angel Garza. That's how you do
it. That is a good point.
Yeah. Yes. Nathan pointing out that Io does have a history with Shayna, which we'll see if Tom Phillips remembers that or not. Probably not.
It's in his notes.
I'm going to call that Charlotte. I'm going to call that Charlotte's back, because also the back and forth that they had, Charlotte was the one that ended Asuka's streak, and
that's true.
The mutual respect I'm sure the two have for each other, or some BS that the announcers will feed us.
If it is Charlotte, the amount of times they say mutual respect, we should all do shots. And then we're going to just all get wasted.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't even drink and I'd be wasted.
Right?
Just from the fumes of everybody else drinking, I'd be drunk.
Sniffing it, you just be like,
so I'm going to call Charlotte, but you're going to call Io, I think.
I'm calling Io, yeah.
Yeah. And then, does it matter who's going to win? Is there a chance Shayna and Nia retain?
No, I think they're done. I don't. I think they're done, and I think they'll feud after this. I think, you know,
Shayna has been booked to be the funnier one lately. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that.
Which is weird. It's not something I ever would have expected originally.
Like, Nia's all serious, and then Shayna's the one making these comments, or like making these dumb comments, and then Nia just kind of looks at her. So I'm curious if that's where they're going, that Shayna will be the face.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy Nia as a face. I mean,
I don't think people are going to want to cheer her for a while.
No.
Yeah, I think she's damned if she do, damned if she doesn't. SmackDown Women's Title match: Sasha Banks versus Does It Matter?
No, Sasha Banks.
I mean, I like this new Carmella. The entrance is absolute fire. You know, with the smoke, the silhouette, and all that stuff. But she just came back for this storyline, and while it's putting her right there, like back up the ladder, I don't think it's time to be on top of that ladder yet.
No, I agree.
Now, I don't know what your option is for Sasha down the line, because you do have to start thinking about WrestleMania and if she's going to be your champion then or not, like what the scene looks like. I just don't think Carmella's winning it right now.
No, I don't think she's winning it right now.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wish there was more analysis behind this. I don't even know who they move to next, unless it's more NXT call-ups.
Yeah.
Bianca. The thing is, it seems like Bianca and Sasha will be the ones that eventually will collide.
Yeah. No, I agree with that totally.
And probably would be better with the belt rather than the two of them just feuding.
Yeah.
Without. So I don't know where Carmella proceeds after this feud, but let's be honest, WWE doesn't know either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so again, if anybody's got a reason why Carmella should win other than Carmella, I want her to win.
And that's the only thing that I think could happen, is that oh man, we heard you loud and clear. You need surprises. And that's where like, guess what? Carmelo's winning. You're like, huh?
That's the whole, let's just put everything against the wall and see what sticks. I mean, Carmelo's champions wouldn't necessarily be a horrible thing, but
no.
Sasha's got the momentum. Sasha's a crossover star. I mean, so if Sasha loses, it's punishment for her cousin working for AEW here in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what happened. I honestly believe if that happens, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Nope. Shouldn't have let your cousin go to that other company.
As if she had some sort of control.
Yep. Well, she's the boss, you know. TLC match, WWE title, AJ Styles with almost, that's what I like to call him, almost, versus Drew McIntyre. And I said, hey, get the belt off of Drew. I don't think this is going to be it, though.
No. Man.
And these TLC matches, one-on-one.
Right. And that's what I was thinking, too. I was like, man, this is the one that, if there was one that I was like, what, that doesn't need to be TLC? It's this one.
Yeah. Like all the heat behind this one. Again, like Sheamus has more heat right now than AJ Styles does.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I mean, I like AJ as a champ, but he doesn't run the camp.
No, he's not the champ that runs the camp right now. Even with almost, it's going to be Drew. Like, I like AJ as a champion, but I just don't think it's, unless they're like, yeah, exactly. I don't like the current version of AJ. The only way AJ becomes champion is they're like, so I hear you like former Bullet Club people. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give AJ his own group, and then they're gonna realize they fired the Good Brothers at some point. They're like, oh yeah, those guys aren't with us anymore.
Who are hanging out with Omega now?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If AJ wins, it's because they're trying to capitalize on Bullet Club hype.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with Drew dropping that belt, but I just don't think this is the match or the feud to make that happen.
No.
And then finally, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title. I'll ask the question again, albeit slightly paraphrased. It's Roman Reigns versus does it matter?
No, it doesn't, unfortunately. And I like this feud more than I like there's my head again. I like Owens Roman more than Styles McIntyre, but still Roman with the belt makes sense.
Yeah.
His character, the head of the table, being with Heyman, it's all the total package with the belt. He's not losing it to Kevin Owens right now.
Yeah. I don't know what Owens needs, but he's one of those characters that we love so much, either love to hate or love to love. I haven't felt that in a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessarily him or just lackluster feuds, bad script, no forward thinking behind it.
Cool.
But we know that this guy can go. Maybe Kevin as champion would light the fire, and all of a sudden that great character is back. I think Kevin needs to work with Sami Zayn again and kind of find that fire again.
Well, I guess he had asked and they said no. Like, he either wanted to feud or team up with Sami, and the guys in the back were like, nah. Here's this feud with Roman, which you'd think people would be hyped to get to feud with the main event, the champ. But if you're just kind of being fed to Roman, is it better?
Yeah.
Is it better than something else? I don't know.
Well, let's be honest though. If they are listening to fans, 2-year anniversary, we're going to give you guys what you want. Maybe now they're like, okay, Owens, you really want to work with Sami. What do you got? Like, what are you thinking? Like, maybe they're actually going to listen to the pitch this time.
Yeah.
And see what happens. And even then, you go back to the Ruthless Aggression era. Cena and Orton crossed paths so many times, and I got tired of it, but WWE kept selling it to us. Why couldn't you have Owens and Sami Zayn always being in each other's radar somewhere? Good or bad, it doesn't matter. Just they're destined to always cross paths. I don't think that's unrealistic.
No. I mean, your roster is, while it's large, they're both still on the same roster on the same show.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that they wouldn't cross paths is more unrealistic than them crossing paths. And
I think goes back to my pitch earlier. If you have a lot more stars on the show, even the bottom of the card on the show somewhere, interacting with these guys, when you do want a program together, it's easier to have that starting off point.
And that's where I think we've always said it's more awkward that you're fighting one feud at a time.
Yeah.
Instead of you're all in the same backstage area, you're all in the same locker rooms. Like, you should be bumping into people and having issues or alliances with more than one person at one time.
I mean, I understand the old school mentality behind it. This is something they've been doing since the Carney days of pro wrestling. So there is very linear, this is what's going on, but life is not linear. And I know they want to be an escape from a lot of the life. That's why they never use the word pandemic at all during any of this. They don't want to remind people of it. They want to escape. But life is not linear. So I don't have just one stress at work. I may have one main stress, but I don't have just one stress. And you can't just focus on one kid at a time as a parent. If you have multiple kids, you should probably check in on the other ones at least.
You should try. Yeah.
So that's why I like the idea of things coming and going. And this 360 world of people always being around each other, because when you do want to make that the main focus, again, you have the starting off point. You're off the blocks and can move forward.
Yep.
Again, I'm not saying the bottom of the card is going to save the product, but when the top of your card goes down to injury or is beat up and needs time off, the bottom of the card won't be as bottom as it once was.
Yes.
Top to bottom, if you just have a better show, that's definitely going to help the cause there. But, I love those TV shows that there's only one storyline going the entire time. Look on Friends. They never focused on the different groups having different things, or Seinfeld. No, they all were doing the exact same thing every episode.
Every episode.
Yeah. So, those are our picks. If they add any more, maybe we'll put them in the social online version. But your picks very much welcome. We're going to post that probably Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon somewhere. So you can make your picks at Wrestling Audio. Follow us everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and probably others that I don't even remember. Yeah. Last question, and we wrap this up. Do you any of you agree MJF is a better Miz than Miz?
That's a hard question.
Overall, no. Right now,
overall, yeah, that's where I was trying. You said it better than what I was like. Are we taking Miz's overall career or right now? Overall, I agree. I agree with Mo.
Yeah,
MJF is a better character right now.
MJF knows his character.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. Like MJF, and that's not even a Miz comparison. Compared to most stars, MJF knows who he is right now.
Yep. And
that's what's brilliant about what he's doing. Miz, I think he thinks he knows what he's doing, or he's doing what he's being told to do, but it's not. It's not fully clicking. So I think MJF right now is a better Miz. Overall, though, you can't disrespect Miz's career or run by any means.
No.
I thought that was the last question, but this is a good one. I actually meant to ask you this before we went live, but we'll talk about it live. Why not?
Yeah.
Low blow. Are we going to do one next week on Christmas Eve or not? You're the one with the family. Me, I'm the loser with no life. So,
currently I don't have my kids that day, so I'm available.
Okay. So we may have a Christmas Eve edition of the Low Blow.
Christmas Eve edition of the Low Blow. Yeah.
We will point out, disclaimer, that plans could change. And if they do change, we'll let you know that there won't be a low blow. But right now, we're planning on a low blow.
Why not?
Yeah. So get your gear ready. It'll be a Christmas holiday edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although we probably won't do one on New Year's Eve.
Probably not.
I mean, we probably could do one on New Year's Eve, but if we're gonna do one New Year's Eve, we're doing the countdown. Goddammit! And we got 2 time zones to do. We got your time zone and my time zone.
Yes.
We'll worry about that next week when we do the Christmas Eve edition. Should we do a show waiting for Santa to arrive? Then we realize we're 2 single men and nobody's visiting us. Nobody's letting us stuff their stockings at all that day.
Why are these middle-aged men waiting for a jolly fat guy?
Well, I'm on my way. Just waiting for this to fully turn gray. Got the midsection. I'm good to go. I am Santa Claus.
There you go.
Ho, 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 bitches.
Spoilers.